Good boy. This is my boy. Is that my boy? Oh, protect the camera. Hey, smile. Smile. Sit. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, you may have seen my puppy is growing pretty quickly. He's getting pretty big. He's a handful, but he's full of energy and just, I don't know, he's adorable. I love him. So playful, likes to wrestle and stuff like that. I usually get him on the rope and do a little tug of war. But yeah, so we're back again. This is going to be part 2 of the coilover install. Well, I mean, it's kind of a combined part install. We're mostly focusing on the coilovers, but we're doing other things. So if you didn't see the rear coilover install, the rear brake lines, and the lollipop install of the last video, go back and check it out if that helps you out. But either way, stay tuned. We're going to be installing our MaXPeedingrod front coilovers and front brake hoses, and then I think we'll pretty much be done, minus setting ride height, and of course it's going to need an alignment. Still need to secure some toe plates. I don't know if anybody's got some toe plates, but I need to talk to some of my friends. Otherwise I'll have to string it up or something. But if we can get all the parts installed, I can do the alignment before the drift event. I'm not really worried about it. I would like to maybe take it down the road today and do a rip and see how the differential feels and just see how the car feels with the coilovers. But yeah, don't forget, oh yeah, get you one. The lollipops were kind of a pain in the ass, but we got them on and everything like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get set up, and we're gonna probably move to getting the brake hoses changed, because hopefully that'll be pretty quick. And if not, we can denote a little bit of time. If they're rusty or just kind of seized like the back ones were, we can denote some time to that, and then we'll get to the coilovers. So stay tuned, I'll be back in a little bit. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. That is just some fine, perfectly serviceable shock absorber. Yep, so good. It's all good. 50 bucks. Hit me up. It's got that lowering springs, that lowering spring mod. Everything you need. Fix your ride right. They're Bilsteins. They're Bilsteins. Good stuff. Come on, 50 bucks. All right, guys. So we're getting our coilover set up before we go and dismantle the driver's side so we can install it. And I just wanted to point out a few things so that you all know. One, check these screws, because on the other one they were all loose, so just make sure they're tight. You can wait to install them in the car, but just make sure you check them. That way you're not gonna drive down the road and these screws be loose, and next thing you know, something bad happens. So yeah, it's good practice. Alright, next, this is set from the factory or whatever, and yeah, you can trust them if you want, but it is a $200 coilover, so I don't really trust them that much. So I'm going to set everything up and go through the preload adjustment and then setting our height. So I set the other one. I'm going to make sure this one matches, obviously, but I'll just kind of show you what I did and where I got my measurement and everything like that. So let me break these collars loose, get this backed off to 0 preload, and then I'll show you what we do. Alright guys, first let me just go over some coilover basics, because when I first started using coilovers I was a bit of a novice. Still am, but at least know the basics, so hopefully it'll help you if you have any questions. One, don't adjust your ride height with this spring. This is for setting the spring preload and droop of the spring, not ride height. Ride height on these types of true coilovers is done with the damper body mount. So you loosen this lock collar down here and you raise and lower the mount itself. That preserves the stroke of the shock absorber, and that will prevent you from riding on your bump stops and having a horrible ride with a lot of bump steer and other type of issues. I mean, bump steer can come from other issues too, but if you're bottomed out in your strut, you're just going to wear it out prematurely and have poor performance. So spring is for preload. Strut mount body is for height adjustable. The rear is totally different, but this is on the front or a true coilover. So the first thing you do when you want to set preload is you don't really need a lot. Usually anywhere up to 10 millimeters or so is pretty good. But first you need to get the spring to a 0 preload setting, which is basically no pressure on the spring. It's free to rotate. Once you've achieved that, it's pretty simple. All you're going to do is you're going to tighten this by hand until you can't tighten it anymore. Alright, once you have tightened it up by hand as far as you can do, you're going to run this bottom collar up until it bottoms out against the top collar. Alright, so once you've done that, now pretty much this is going to be about a 1/4 inch or 12 millimeters, you know, so it's pretty decent gauge of preload. So all I'm going to do is I don't want to touch this bottom collar, I just want to touch this top one, and we're going to keep rotating it up. And what we're looking for is we're looking for our spanner to fit inside the gap between the two collars. Once our spanner fits, we know we have about a decent amount of preload. So that's what we're looking for. So now we know the preload is pretty much right where is a pretty good starting point, and we can put it in like that and then adjust the height, and shouldn't really have to mess with it much more. The really higher expensive, high dollar, high quality coilovers, they usually give you a measurement of compressed spring height, like length, so that you know when you set your preload. Like I think even my CX racing coilovers, I think it even said in the instructions that the spring should be 180 millimeters when set with the proper preload. So what I had to do is I had to do this and then measure the compressed spring and get it to 180 millimeters, and I then knew the preload was set properly. You know, that's not unfamiliar from other manufacturers, but this rule of thumb works pretty good too. Now, because I've already done this on the other side, I want to make sure that they match so that I get a pretty similar ride quality between the two. So basically what I'm going to do is take a rough measurement real quick from the spring to here, and I have achieved, I don't know if you can see that, but it's basically, let me see if I can zoom you in a little bit. Alright, so if you look right here, the bottom of the spring comes to the line past 6 3/4. So the other spring I had at 6 3/4. So you can see I got them within, like, what is that, a 1/16 of an inch between the two. Pardon my crappy ruler reading skills, but either way, whatever that little line is. So that was a pretty good rough estimate, but because I want them to be the exact same, I'm gonna go ahead and set this to 6 3/4 so they match. So I only need to turn it just a hair more and we'll be at the 6 3/4 mark. All right guys, so now we have our preload set and everything like that. So now I'm gonna set the height and everything like that, and these are just preliminary settings. Well, the preload's pretty much set, but the height is a preliminary setting. That's just gonna be what I'm gonna put it in the car at, and then I'll see how the ride height is and make an adjustment from there. So basically what I did is I spun it all the way out. The damper length is, I think it was a little over 7 3/4 from the bottom of the collars all the way to the end of the threads. So I have quite a bit of room. So from here to here was 7 3/4, so it's quite large. So what I did is right now, from the bottom of the collar I have, so it looks like I have 1 5/8 inches. So what I did on the other one is I set it to 2 inches. Most of these coilovers come preset so that it lowers a lot. I'm not trying to like slam the car and everything, because I don't want to get to where I'm rubbing and causing a lot of binding issues and stuff. So I just extending it basically a little bit more, you know, about 3/8 of an inch or so, and then we'll see where it's at from there. If it's still too low, we'll raise it more. If it's too high, we'll drop it back down. I don't really think it'll be an issue. So I'm gonna get this set, and then we'll get to tearing out the old crap and get these new Johnnies installed. Stay tuned. All right, now when we're going ahead and removing this stuff, we got you know, a bunch of sensors and stuff to get plugged back here. You got your brake wear indicator sensor, your ABS sensor, so you're gonna need to unplug those. Also, you can probably leave your brake line installed, but we're changing to the stainless line, so I'll probably go ahead and remove that. And then for the actual strut itself, you have an 18 millimeter nut and bolt there, you have an 18 millimeter there, and then you have an 18 millimeter on the opposite side. So those 3 bolts hold the strut in, along with your top bolts up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the brake line off, and then get all these bolts out, get this old crappy blown up cut spring piece of shit off the car, so we can get our $200 MaXPeedingrod fully adjustable coilovers. Top quality, that's right, stay tuned. Alright guys, there is our new MaXPeedingrod coilovers installed. Everything's tidied back up. We got all our wires plugged back in, fixed a couple broken grounds and whatnot, but everything is installed. We got our new brake line and whatnot. The brakes are going to need bled, everything, so we still got to do our ride height adjustment, bleed our brakes and everything like that. but super happy to have the coilovers installed. So let's get some wheels on it. Let's lower it down. Let's see what the front looks like. I got to switch the rears out to the 17 so I can kind of have an equal wheel on the front and back so I can gauge the ride height and make it look nice. But yeah, so I'll bring you guys back. Let's get some wheels on this thing. All right guys, here it is on the ground. Still need to change the rear wheels, but for the front, I'm kind of liking it. I think it's pretty good. I think I might try it out there. It doesn't seem too low to where it's going to be causing me a lot of clearance issues, rubbing issues, or problems. Yeah, it's not Stance Boy. You know, we ain't gonna win no awards or nothing like that. But it's pretty tastefully low and everything. I'm gonna consider that a success. I'm pretty happy. Coilovers are done. Brake hoses are done. All I gotta do now is change the rear tires, make a rear adjustment, lower the rear a little bit, bleed the brakes, and yeah, whatever else there needs to be done. But yeah, I'm gonna get back to work. It's hot. I know I've been saying it every day, but we're working outside in the sun, and it is hot. It is wearing me down. Woo boy. You know, I will say I think my plans of working on the white car are getting shattered. I may get a day or two, but it looks like everything was spent working on the BMW, which it is the car we're drifting right now, so I guess it needed it. It is what it is. Whatever, we'll get the white car done eventually. Stay tuned. We'll get the rear adjusted and see what she looks like. Alright guys, so after hours and hours, the brakes are bled, the coilovers are adjusted. It was surprisingly tough to get this thing low, and I wasn't even going for super low, but the rears ended up taking out the collars, taking out the rubber isolators, and maxing it out and basically screwing the one collar all the way up as far as I can go. I could take that collar out to get it a little lower, but I'm actually pretty happy with the ride height right now. I'm gonna let them settle, and if I feel like it needs to go up or go down, I'll adjust as needed. But let me show you what she looks like. I think it looks way better. I'm about to take it on a maiden voyage, see how she does. Probably the alignment's probably all fucked up, but we're gonna just try to take her down the road. Here it is. See, the rear's not even like super low. It's not even super low, but it was work just to get it that low. Front's modest. I have the wheels turned so it doesn't roll away because I have no e-brake. But yeah, we're gonna take it for a little rip real quick, see how it goes down the road. Well, it seems to go down the road pretty decent. I'm not sure I really noticed like a huge improvement from the final drive. I did kick it around in a little U-turn in first and it seemed to spin pretty decent. I really would like to try it out on a track, so I can't wait to make it to a track to actually see how it does. But yeah, all in all, it seems to ride pretty good. The alignment definitely needs adjusted. It's pretty bad. Kind of pulls one way and whatnot, but she's up and running, so some small little tweaks and she'll be drift ready. So we're gonna be hitting an event on the 29th of July, so at the end of the month, and then 2 in August, or maybe 1 in August right at the beginning, so kind of back to back. So we'll see how that goes. But that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I'm tired, I'm hot, I'm sweaty. I'm just ready to go sit in AC and relax and everything like that. So please like, share, subscribe, and cop a sticker. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Later.